Hi, this is Mark from Wicky Design. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create an Elementor appointment website. I'm going to be using the free version of the MotoPress appointment booking plugin. And I'm also going to be using Elementor Pro throughout this whole entire tutorial. So I'm going to leave a link in the description below so you can download the MotoPress appointment booking plugin and if you need to get Elementor Pro. And before we continue with the tutorial and all the back-end stuff, first let me show you a demo of the website. So when we build out everything, it's going to make a lot more sense on what we're actually going to be building out. So as you can see right here, the demo is going to be as if it's a hair salon. And what I wanted to do is have multiple ways that the user can submit a booking form. So let me just scroll down here on the home page. You can see just a pretty simple write-up. I have the 3 services listed right down here. There's different like booking appointment buttons that kind of go to a totally different page. But first, let's just kind of go up into each one of these and show you how you can have multiple ways that you can have people, sign up for a booking. So let's say they go ahead and click on the team page. What I did is within this plugin, what you do is you assign different employees with schedules, and then you kind of tie it to a location and their services. So what I wanted to do is have it where the user can, read up on each one of these team members. They can click it and then they can book just with that person. So let's say you know that you want to book with Courtney. What you can do now is on this page have a unique form, select the services that she offers, which is just these 2 right here. And she only works at one location. And so you can just go ahead and click next, choose an available time, hit next. And then right down here, they're just going to enter in their information and then they're going to hit reserve. So you can see how quick and easy that is just within a few button clicks. The user can already book an appointment with Courtney. Now, if we wanted to go ahead and let's say, if they didn't know what the services were, they can always click on the services pages. And then right down here, each one of these, we have the 3 services. You can click on each one and then you can see in the URL, it's just called service. And then this is woman's haircut. And then you can scroll down here into the book now. And then you don't have to select the women's haircut as the service. So now it's going to make it a lot easier. So the user can just choose which location they want to go to and then which employee. And then it's the same process. You just select the time. And then underneath locations, pretty similar. What I did is I just have 2 locations. We got Fishtown and Rittenhouse. And then down here, you kind of do the opposite. You select the service you want and then the employee. You don't have to select the location. So that's what's cool about this plugin and using Elementor is that you can have all of these different type of booking forms and not just like one generic form. Now, let's say you do want to go ahead and just have one form where they can choose all of those different options. You can always go ahead and do that. So you can just have like a main book appointment button like we have here. You click that. And then down here, you can see these are the 3 things I just covered. So you can have the user select the service, the location, and the employee. So you can go ahead and just do that. And then the form always will look the same. So you just select the date, click next, next again, and then you just put that information in and then they're going to be prompted with an email and all of those things. So that's just like a quick overview on how this website is functioning, just so when we build everything out, like I said, it's going to make a lot more sense. So now let's jump into the back end of WordPress and I'm going to walk you through all of the different settings and how to set all of these things up. So now I'm going to jump into how I set everything up, and so you can go ahead and just follow a lot of these steps if you wanted to set up in a very similar way. So as you can see on this website, all I have is Elementor Pro, and then we have the MotoPress appointment booking Lite plugin. So this is the free version. Now with the free version, there is going to be some limitations. You're not going to be able to take certain payment processors and stuff like that. But throughout the tutorial, you're going to see there's going to be locations in the settings where it's going to tell you what the Pro version offers and the free one doesn't. So once you install that plugin, activate it, if you go over to your appointments, you're going to see a huge list of things right here. So it's a little overwhelming at first, but once you kind of understand all these buttons, it all is going to start making some sense. But the first thing we need to do is let's go ahead and click on settings. So what I'm going to do in this tutorial is kind of go through what I have set up on this demo, and then I'm going to go through and show you how I set up all the employees and the locations. And what's nice is you can see right here, they give you descriptions for each one of these settings. So it's going to make a lot more sense when you're going through it. But you can see right here, the default time step I have is 30. So as you can see right here, that's the default length of the time slot step, which is used for the appointment durations. Right down here, we have the confirmation mode. So you can do it where it's automatically confirmed, or if you wanted to have it where an admin has to manually approve it, you can go ahead and do that, or confirmation upon payment. But in this situation, payment is only going to be with the free version, like in person. So we're going to just go ahead and click confirm automatically. And then right here, if you have a terms and conditions page, you can always tie that here. So that's pretty important if you're going to be accepting payments and offering services. I would recommend create that as a standard Elementor page and then just tie it in right here. And then if you want to have the ability to have multi-booking, you can click that right here. So allow clients to book more than one service at a time. In this demo, I don't have that enabled, but if you do need that, you can always just go ahead and make sure you enable that. And then I don't have coupons on right now, but later in the tutorial, I'm going to show you how easy it is to just create a coupon and then you enable it right here. And then this option right here, if you want to have it where the user can go ahead and cancel their booking via email, you can enable that right here. So in this tutorial, I don't have that enabled, but you can see right here, you just need to add this little code right here inside of your email template. And once we get into the email templates, it'll make a lot more sense. And then if you do have the cancellation service on right here, you need to go ahead and assign a page. So you need to create like a cancellation page and then like a canceled page and tie it in right here. So in this option right here is called customer account creation. So what this is going to do is you can have it automatically create an account so the user can log into your website. And if they need to make modifications to the appointments, you can always do that. So there's a lot of kind of pros and cons if you want to do this. If you do go this route, you have to be aware that you are going to run into more, security issues that you're going to have to be aware of. So if you're the admin on the website, and let's say you're starting to get hundreds of people, creating accounts, people are going to be changing their emails. You're going to be getting alerts. People might have issues logging in. So it could become a lot more administrative work. So they give you the flexibility. Do not create automatically. Enable customers to opt in or create automatically. So depending on your use case, if you have the administrative ability to manage this, I would say go ahead and create automatically. But like I said, that can turn into a lot of work. And then what you need to do is tie that account page to a page that you created, because you need to add this little shortcode. They leave it right here. So I can show you later in the tutorial how easy it is. You could just enable this shortcode on this account page, and then that's going to be where the user can log in and they're going to view all their stuff right there. And then we need to go ahead and just select, in this case, we have United States, US, currency is the dollar, and then you can change how you want your currency to look. So let's go ahead and just hit save here. So now we can jump over into the emails tab right here, and you can see they have it broken down into a few sections. So they have the admin emails and then the customer emails. So I like how they separate this all out. So if you just go in here and under each one click on manage, what you could do is enable this. So you probably want to have this enabled. So whenever somebody books it as an admin on the website, you're going to go ahead and receive emails. So you can see right here, when somebody sends an email, this is going to be the subject. It's going to be the site name title. So if you want to have a different name, you can put that in right here. New booking, and then this is going to give the unique ID. So, for your record, you can figure out which booking it is. And then the headers is going to be like new booking ID. Okay, so these little macros down here, if you scroll down to this bottom of this page, this right here is going to show you all of the things that you could pull in. So these are all of the dynamic information that the plugin offers you. So you could go ahead and just click this right here, like highlight it, copy and paste it inside of any of these fields up here, and then it will pull in automatically, dynamically. So you could say in the email here, administrator, new confirmation booking. Here's the link to where the person actually came from. Here's the service, the client name, email, phone number, any booking notes they left, and then the price right here. So like I said, you can go ahead and just click and copy and paste this and then make it unique to your own, use case. So now if we go back, you're going to see that there's 3 emails right here that the customer can get. So new booking confirmations, that's automatically created as soon as they click that reservation button or booking, they're going to get this email. And then right here, if you do have the customer account creation, that's going to get enabled. And then if you have cancel booking. So if you go into this one, hit manage, you're probably going to want to click enable this email notification. And it's very similar. You can see right here, this is what it's going to display. So if they put in, John, that's going to say, Dear John, your appointment has been booked. Here's the reservation details. And then right down here, we have the booking price and any sort of cancellation details. Now you might notice this right here, they do have this called template part tags. So what this means is if you copy this, you can see right here by default, that's automatically showing right here. So instead of having to, always click and create these unique macros, what you could do is what they call a template. I know it's a little confusing, but let me just scroll down here and show you. So you can see if you scroll down here under template parts, right here where it says customer reservation details. If you click that, this is like a string of information that you can pull in via template. So you don't have to use this if you don't want to, but you can see right here, it's just the service name, the employee on this date, and here's the buffer times, all of that. So they do give you some flexibility right here using templates. So that way, if you wanted to have that automatically on all three of these, where my mouse is, you would just do the one template. So it can make your life a little bit easier. So if you can see right here, if you go underneath your customer account creation, very similar, here's your account details. So this is going to give them the login and then the customer account password. And then basically that's just going to create them as like a WordPress user. And then they can go ahead and log into your website and then see the special shortcode that we're going to show later. And then if you're doing cancellation, pretty similar. This is the reservation details that we just showed you. So you could see that's all right there. And then down here underneath email sender, you're going to want to have this tied to your admin email. By default, it's just my name, Mark at Wicky Design. And then this is, if you want to change out the form name. And then down here, you can change the email template logo. So if you want to have a unique logo, you can always add that in here. And then you can always add in some footer text right here. And then here's some base colors, for your email. So pretty standard stuff. So as you can see, they give you a lot of flexibility inside of your email templates. And as you can see here on the screen, I'm just showing you the few different emails that it looks by default. So like I said, you can always go ahead and change out those things on this page, but this is how it's going to look by default. Now the next tab is called notifications. There's not a lot of options in here, but you can see by default, you could put in your admin email right here and the from name. So this is all of your email notifications. You can put that in here. And then you could see, like I said, you will need to install a pro version if you want to have SMS. So if you want to have it where the user can go ahead and, get a text message, that's going to be an added feature. And so when you click on that, you could see, or on the left side, you click on extensions. But now let's move over into payments. And very similar, you can see right here on the right side, if you want to do a direct bank transfer, Stripe or PayPal, you're going to have to upgrade to the premium. So if you go ahead and click that, here's some options on what the Pro version offers and what we're using right here on the left side. So if you do need those payment processors, you are going to need to upgrade to the Pro version. But in this situation, what you could do is they have this one right here called Pay on Site. And so what you could do is click on Manage and just enable this right here. And if you want to change out the title or give it a description, you could do that right here. But that's what we're going to be using in this tutorial. And so for your use case, you might not ever need to upgrade to the Pro version. You could just do Pay on Site and everything should be good. Then once you do that, you need to go down into your default method right here and just select the one we just created, Pay on Site. And then right here, this is nice. So time to complete payment. So 60 is by default. So period and minutes which your user is given to complete the payment. So it's kind of like an abandoned time slot thing where it's going to hold it for like 60 minutes. If they don't pay for it, it's going to go, back available. And then you can see right down here, if you're using different payment processors, this is the reservation received page. And then this is where you can have a certain page if it failed. But in this case, we're just doing Pay on Site, so you don't need to set up those pages. But if you do have like a PayPal, you can go ahead and set these pages up. And then underneath here and under integrations, we don't have the Google Calendar sync, but this is a really good feature. If you need this, all of your booking appointments to go onto your Google Calendar, that's going to be a premium version. So this would be a really good thing to be able to sync up. But if you kind of have a small shop, you don't have to worry about that. You can just get away with the free version. And then underneath miscellaneous, this is where you can go ahead and change some default settings for your forms. So let me show you what that looks like. So if I go into my booking form right here, what those settings are going to change is right here. You see how this one is just kind of like the bubbles. I believe this one's like the Airbnb theme. But let's go ahead and change it to the orange and hit save. Now when I hit refresh on this page and go into a service, you can see it's now orange. So it's just kind of changing the colors up here. So they give you the few different options, but let's just go ahead and just change that back to default. And then you can always change the width of your containers and all of that, but you can see right here, override it separately. So I'm going to show you later in the tutorial where I change that. And then if you have a license key, that's where you're going to go ahead and just put it in right here. Okay, so those are all of the settings. Now what we're going to be jumping into is how we set up the employees, the services, and all of those things. And before we continue with adding all of the things that we need in this plugin, there is one thing I do recommend if you're going to be using Elementor. We are going to need to enable that as a custom post type. So if you go underneath Elementor right here and where it says settings, just go ahead and click that. And then you should see these new 3 new tabs in here called employees, location, and services. And you need to enable that and then hit save changes. So what that's going to do is give you the ability to add Elementor to the specific post types, because this plugin is automatically creating these 3 post types right here. And then by default, Elementor is not always tied to it. So you have to go ahead in here and hit save. So now let's jump into the employees and show you how I have that set up. So if we go underneath appointments, and you can see when I click on employees, I have the 3 employees. You have Courtney, Ashley, Jessica. And you can see right here where the word Elementor is being shown. That means that all 3 of these pages are using Elementor and not the plugin settings. So what you're going to want to do is go ahead in here and just click add new. And then give your person a name. So, you know, John or Mark, whatever way you want to be, you just put their name in right here. And then down here, we're actually not going to be using this. So if you aren't using Elementor and you're just like using a generic theme and you don't want to have to deal with the page builder, you could go ahead and add their social media right here. So you could type in like a label, the content, and the URL and a special class name. So they do give you a little flexibility, but I do recommend using a page builder instead, because this is kind of limited and it's not going to give you full flexibility. So what you're going to want to do is, like I said, just put your name in here. I usually hit save and then hit edit with Elementor, and let me show you what I have on that page. So if we jump over into the Courtney one, I'll open this up in a new tab. And you can see right here, there isn't really much dynamic information. All we have is just like a regular header, a picture. You could do a write-up about her. And then right down here is where, you know, all the magic's going to happen. So when you throw in one of these form shortcodes, it's probably not going to show in on the back end. You might just get this spinning icon. That's normal, so you don't have to worry about it. But later in the tutorial, I'm going to show you where to get this shortcode. You can see right here is just called Courtney form. So I have one that this form only really kind of works on the Courtney page. So that's all you need to do is go ahead and start to set up your employees. So in this situation, I just have the 3. And so Jessica is basically exactly the same. If I go into her page, you can see in Elementor, I just kind of had a template, just change out the name. And then down here, this booking form is a special form just for Ashley. So just get those set up first, because you're going to need to tag these later, you know, under the services. And in this tutorial, I'm not using these 2 right here called service categories or tags, but they do give you the ability, if you're going to have a whole bunch of services, you can always kind of put things in categories if it makes it easier. But in this tutorial, I just had a few services, so I don't need to worry about tags and categories. So I recommend if you're going to have a whole bunch of things, you can go ahead and just add that in here. But now let's jump into locations. And so each one of these should be tied to like a location. It makes your life a lot easier. So in this situation, in this demo, I just kind of have 2. I have one called Fishtown and Rittenhouse. So when you go ahead and click add new, you're going to see this is what it's going to look like. They don't really give you any options. What you need to do is just give it a title right here and just hit publish. So like I said, if you go back into mine, you could see I have it where it says Elementor, and very similar to what I just did with the team ones, what I did is just have a generic header up here, change out the header. This one says Fishtown, you can change certain images. And then down here, this form is called Fishtown location. So I have a location form for just Fishtown, and I made one just for Rittenhouse. So there's not really any settings you have to worry about in here, but you do need to go ahead and create a location. Now we're going to jump into schedules, and this one's going to be really important, and then services will be like the last one we have to configure, and then we can create the forms. But let's go ahead into schedules, and then what you're going to do is just go ahead and click add new, and then you can see there's a whole bunch of information in here. But let me go back into one that I already configured, so it makes a little more sense. So Courtney's schedule, as you can see right here on the back end, it's nice. They show you which location that they're at. So if you kind of have like a high-end view, you could just see where the people are located. So all I did was give it a name right here called Courtney's schedule. And then you need to make sure that it's tied to that employee. So that's why you kind of have to go in this order. You have to do like employee, location, schedule, services. That's kind of like the order you need to go in. So you need to just select Courtney, and then her main location is going to be Rittenhouse. Then you can see down here, they give you a lot of flexibility in how their schedule is going to work. So what you need to do is just go and click add. And then you can see right here, they give you all of the 7 days. And then what you could do is just type in a specific period of time right here. So in this very first case, I have 9 a.m. to noon, and then I wanted to give her like an hour lunch. So what you do is you just create this one. We did 9 right here, and then 12, and then that's just working hours. Then you can see underneath activity type, you have lunchtime and a break. So if you want to have multiple breaks in there, so if they have a 15-minute break later in the day, you can go ahead and always add that in there. And then you could tie it to a specific location. So you can have it where an employee is working at, let's say, Rittenhouse on Monday and Tuesday, but then they go to Fishtown Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can always put that in right here. But if you tie a main location up here, this is going to get overwritten. So if you change it to be where she's at Fishtown on Friday, inside the settings, it's going to override that Rittenhouse. Hopefully that makes sense. So just go ahead and configure that, because if you don't configure that, it's not going to show up correctly on the front end. And then underneath days off, you could just go ahead and click add, and then you could just add in some days that they're going to have off. So if you know they're going to be off this weekend from the 21st to the 23rd, just go ahead and hit add, and then that's going to take them off the schedule on the front end. And then if they have some custom working days, you can always go ahead and do that. So on these days, you want them to change their hours. You can go ahead and always just change that right here and hit add. You can see right here on these dates, these specific hours, they're available. And as you can see, when I click on Ashley, very similar. I have it where she's in Fishtown instead. I tied the employee to Ashley, and she has these working days. So this is going to be something that if you have employees, you're going to want to know how easy it is to go in and add days. If they want to change their schedule, you just do it all within here, and it updates everything on the front end. So that's how I was able to add those 3 schedules right there. Okay, so now we're going to jump into services. So this is going to be the most important one. So this is going to be the thing that's mandatory that the user is going to have to choose, and then they can choose an employee and the locations that we just set up. But everything needs to be kind of set up correctly at the services level. So let's go to the very first one and click on blowout and style. And like the other ones, I enabled Elementor, so you have more control over how the front end is going to look. And then this page is going to require a little bit of CSS to be able to hide some custom stuff. So I'm going to show you that later. But once you scroll down here, you're going to see this is where a lot of information is going to be. So this is going to be a very important page. So I'll just kind of go through this pretty quickly. And what you need to do first is set up a price. So this one's going to be $85. How long it's going to be. So let's say this appointment's an hour and a half long. And then if you need to change how long the intervals are going to be, so you can change that. By default, it was the 30 minutes. So you can always manually go ahead and change out anything along here. And then if you need buffer time before and after. So if there's a service that's going to take you a little bit of time to prep or clean up, you can always go ahead and add a little bit of buffer time right here. So you could choose like 30 minutes after. So if it's like a haircut, that might give you enough time to clean up, maybe take a quick break and then move on to the next one. So you can see right here, they give you some good descriptions because this can get a little kind of complicated. So this is just kind of talking the time before booking, the minimum period before the appointment when customers can submit a booking request. So you can always change this out by years if you wanted for some reason, months, days, hours, and minutes right here. And then this is the other way around where it's the maximum amount of time before the booking that is allowed to make it. So you can do something where somebody can book a year ahead, in advance for, depending on what type of website you have, they give you the ability for the same thing, months, years, days, hours, and minutes. And then down here, I'm not really using any sort of group booking, but if you needed to have it where you have a service, let's say like a tour guide or something like that, you can go ahead and set how many tickets or bookings that people can make for that one service. So in this case, I didn't really find much of a use case just for this type of service where it was just like a one-off haircut. But if you need to have it where there's a group reservation, this is where you're going to go ahead and enable these options right here. And then right down here, this is your appearance color. So later when you start to see the appointment show up in your calendar, this is what color it's going to be. So by default, everything is always like this yellow color, but this is where you're going to go ahead and change it if you want your calendar to look a little bit different. And then you can see right here, this is going to be important. You're going to want to make sure you choose the correct employees for that service. So I'm going to go ahead and just choose all of them. So we have Jessica, Ashley, and Courtney. They all are employees that can do this service. So they can always do blowout and style. And then you can see right here, they have a variation. So if you need a certain service for a certain employee. So if Jessica is only going to be $20 for this service, you can always change that right here. And then this is going to be, if you have the group reservations on, you can enable that right here. So for some reason, she's a discount or a new employee for this service, you can change out the price right there. And then right down here, if you're going to have it where you have a payment processor, let's say like PayPal, if you're using the Pro version, this is where you can go ahead and change the deposit setting. So if you want 50% up front, you could just do like percent and then 50%. So they would have to pay 50% on the website. And then when they get to the store or your service location, they can go ahead and pay the rest. And then right down here, these are just notification notices, but in this case, I just kept that all empty. And let me just jump into the men's one, kind of show you. It's very similar process. This one was a lot less, it was only $20. I changed the duration to only be like 30 minutes. I didn't have any buffer time, so I didn't have to worry about cleanup or anything like that. And I just kind of kept everything else in this situation by default. But down here, you can see only Courtney is going to offer this service. So no other person. So Jessica and Ashley do not offer this service right down here. And I just kind of kept everything by default. So that's how you set up the services. So now let's go ahead and I'm going to show you how I was able to set up these little shortcodes and add them to these specific pages I already showed you in the demo. So now we're going to jump into the shortcodes section right here. And as you can see, this is where I have all of my forms. So let me go through what I have so it makes more sense. So I have the 2 locations right here. We have Rittenhouse, Fishtown locations. So those are their own unique shortcodes right here. Then we have the 3 employees. We got Jessica, Courtney, and Ashley right here. They have their own. And then the 3 different services right here. And then we have the main one. Let's keep it simple. Let's start with the main one first. So when you click Add New, I'm only going to be covering the appointment form right here. If you're using Elementor, you won't really need these because what it's going to do is just kind of give you a list mode of the employees, the location, the services, or the categories. There isn't much flexibility with how it can be displayed. So I like doing it where you just go ahead and click Add New Appointment Form. So this appointment form is going to be this one right here, just on the generic page where the user can select the service, the location, and then the employee. So that's what this shortcode is going to be right here. So I just called it main appointment form. I'm not going to give it a form title because you could always do this right here inside of like Elementor. You have a lot more flexibility. But now let's go ahead in here. And then we're going to unclick this one right here called service category because I don't use that. This one's automatically going to be enabled by default, the one called service. And then we have location and employee. So in this situation, we don't want to have like a default value. In the other ones, we are going to be assigning default values, but just keep all of this by default. And then down here, if you want to change out the labels, you can always go ahead and choose that. But I'm just going to go ahead and keep everything by default. And then right here, I'm changing the form width to 100%. So if you look right here, this is going to stretch 100% of this container. If you remember in this part of the settings, so if I go back into settings and then miscellaneous, you can have it by default 100%. So if you don't want to have to always change it to 100%, in the situation I'm showing you right here under shortcodes, you can just do it there. But let me jump back into here. And you can see they give you the same settings basically as what I just showed you. You can override that right here. That's what this is doing, is overriding those settings. And then right down here for columns count, this is the time slots. So let me visually show you what that looks like. So if I'm on this form, choose an employee and a location, this right here, you see where these 3 buttons are? Those are 3 different columns, so 1, 2, and 3. So if I change that to a 1, hit update, and then let me show you on the form, if I hit refresh, going to do the same thing, that's going to change it to a 1 column layout. So it's kind of like stacked on top of each other. So it's kind of like just a visual way of changing how many columns you're going to have for your times. But I actually think 3 looks pretty good. So you could just keep that on by default and hit update. And then if you want to have this where it says show the time when the appointment ends, you can do that too. So if I hit enable, you can see it's going to change out to the way it looks. It's going to be more of a, it's going to have the end here. So you can see right here, when you start to do that, if you do 3 columns, you might run into some layout issues. So you might have to do some CSS. So that's probably why they give you the option to do the 1. But I like the default without having that on. You can go ahead and just turn that off. I think it looks a little bit cleaner on the front end. And so once you do that, you can see when you hit update, it automatically is going to generate the shortcode right here, or it's like in table grid right here. You can always go ahead and just choose this right here as your shortcode. So now you can go ahead and copy that to your clipboard. And then wherever you want to put that booking form, you would just go ahead and add a shortcode widget. So just go to Elementor, just type in shortcode, and then just pull that in. And it's as easy as just pasting that in there. You can hit apply if you want, and then hit update. And that's it. So now when you go to the front end of the website, it's going to showcase that form we just created. Now let's go ahead and tackle the location pages, and then I'll move on to like the team one and then the services. So I wanted to have it where you can click on location, let's say Fishtown, and then you can see right here, they don't need to choose, the location because it's already on Fishtown. They could just choose the service and the employee. So it's a pretty simple process. All we need to do is first, when you go to your locations tab, you're going to see if I click on view, this is going to give it a unique URL. So you can see this is the domain right here. And it's going to give you /location and then whatever you put in as your title. So this one's called Fishtown. So this is going to be the unique URL for each one. And then of course, if I go to Rittenhouse, it's just location /Rittenhouse. So that's important to keep an eye on is the URLs, because later in the menu system, you need to go ahead and just add that in there like that. But first, let's just focus on the form. So what we need to do is just go back into Shortcodes and then go ahead and click Add New Appointment Form. And then let me jump into the location one I created. This one's called Rittenhouse Location. Then what you need to do is unclick right here, the service category. I'm not using that. And it's automatically going to always enable services, and then you click Employee. Now what you can do different down here is underneath location, force it to be Rittenhouse and then uncheck this, because you don't want to have it where the user can select the other location like Fishtown. So you're going to want to go ahead and make sure all you have is service and employee on these checkboxes. And then of course, everything else is the same. You can go ahead and change any of that down here in the column layouts, but all you need to do is just the same exact process I just showed you. Just take that shortcode, go to that unique URL, which I already created, and then you're going to want to go ahead and make sure it's edit with Elementor, and you just drop in the shortcode just like we did on the other one, just on the main one. You just drop in the shortcode called Rittenhouse Location. So you can always make sure that whatever this page is called Rittenhouse, you're going to make sure that your post is called, Rittenhouse Location. So it's good to name your appointment labels so you can visually understand which label goes where. So you're just going to go ahead and just follow the same thing for Fishtown. It's the exact same process. Here's the shortcode. And then same thing for the team. It's basically the exact same process. What we have here is the 3 pages. So we have Ashley, Courtney, and Jessica. And then when I click on this, this is going to the unique URL that the plugin's given you. So it's called /employee and then the name of the title. So if I go to Courtney, it's going to say /employee and then Courtney. So that's the unique URL that inside this plugin is going to give you. So when you go to your employees, if you click on view, this is the unique URL. So that's why you might need to copy and paste that into any links you have on your website and then have it go to this page. So let me just jump into that shortcode for the employees. You can see right here we have Jessica, Courtney, Ashley. So if we I just click Add New Appointment Form, and then just kind of flip out the process. So just give it a name. Service is always on, uncheck category. Location can be on, but uncheck employee, and then you want to tie it to an employee. So once you choose an employee here, you can uncheck it right up here. So in this situation, it's just called Jessica. And it's kind of kept everything by default. Exact same process. Just go ahead and copy and paste this unique shortcode onto each of the employee pages. So now we're going to jump into the last one called services. So it's basically the same process that we just went through with the employee and the locations. I have each one of these pages just tied to a unique form that I just created, and all they can choose is location and employee. So as you can see, this one's a little bit different. What we did is we don't have a category. And what we're doing is we're forcing the service on right here by default and then unchecking it. So this is the only one so far where, of course, you don't have to select the service. All we're going to be doing is location and employee. So you just want to make sure you have those on, but you always tie the service right here and then uncheck it so they can't, change a different service. And everything else by default, just hit update, and then exact same process, just add the shortcode to the unique page that they give you. So service, and then whatever you call it right here. Now the service is the only one that is a little bit different. And let me show you what happens if you don't add this little bit of CSS. So by default, what this plugin is going to do is, let me get rid of the CSS and hit update. So by default, what this plugin is going to do is give you this right here. So it's automatically going to inject the details of the price, how long, and the capacity. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to use CSS to hide this because we're going to be using Elementor and we don't need to display this. But like I said, if you're not using Elementor, this is how it's going to look, and then you're going to have to use CSS by style anyways. So on this page, all I did is just click on the settings gear down here on advanced, and then you can just paste in this little bit of code. And so all this is doing is disabling the title and then the attribute names right here. So it's these two class names. I'm just doing like a display none, and then that's going to take it away from the page because it's being injected. So you won't see it until it renders out on the front end. So it's not going to show up in Elementor or anything like that. I'll leave the code in the description below so you can just copy and paste it in. And then you can see right here, exact same process. I just have the shortcode, and this one's called blown out style. Just go ahead and hit update. And now when you put the CSS in there, that little chunk is going to be removed. You can choose location, employee only, you can choose the date, and then there you go. Okay, now that I've showed you how you create all the front end pages and tied the shortcodes in, now I'm going to jump into how you set up your account page. So in the beginning of the tutorial, I showed you underneath the settings, I have under customer account creation, I have it as create automatic. So now I'm going to show you that what you need to do is copy this shortcode right here where it says mpa-customer account. You need to copy this shortcode. And I'll just show you that underneath the account page, there's nothing really on this page, but let me show you how easy it is to add. So let me jump into this page and show you that just like all the other things, you just go ahead and drop in the shortcode widget, and it's a mpa-customer_account, and then you close it up. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and actually go through the front end and submit all the way through. I'm going to show you how the process works and how everything should look. And now I'm on the front end of the website in an incognito window, and I'm just going to go as if I am a brand new customer coming to the website. So let's go ahead and just click on services. I need a men's haircut. And let's say I want to go, it's only in Rittenhouse, and then I want to choose Courtney. And let's say I want to go on September 20th at 1 p.m. So as you can see, this is like a little confirmation. I could always go ahead and hit edit and go back and change everything, but let's just hit next. And now I'm just going to actually input real information in here. I'm going to do info@wickydesign.com. I'm just going to do a fake phone number and test notes just to so we can see how it looks. And then let me hit reserve. So as you can see right here, it automatically, this is how it should look. And what I do like about this is now you could just click this button, Google, Apple, Outlook, or Yahoo, and it will automatically open up your calendar. And so you can add it right in there, which is really nice. But now let me show you how the emails are going to look. So as you can see right here, this is the admin email that you're going to receive as the admin of the website. And then this right here is the customer email. So this is what the customer is going to get as soon as they click that reserve button. And since we had the account creation set up, this is what the customer is going to see as the email. And so now I'm just going to log into the email when I click the login now. I'm going to put in the password and click login. So now this is what it's going to look like on the back end. So when the user logs in, it's got my info right here, how many bookings I have, the booking number. You can hit the view action so you can see what it looks like. And then if you have the cancellation in here, it should show up in here as well. But very simple account dashboard, nothing too crazy. But I do like how if you are going to book often, what's nice is you could be logged in already. And then now when I go to a service, it should have all my information in here. So let's say I want to get woman's haircut, Jessica, 10 a.m. hit next, and you can see when you go to the final page, it automatically is going to pull that information in because I'm already logged into the system. And then I can just hit reserve. So now you can see in the back end that I have 2 appointments. So I can click that, and you can see the 2 different appointments I have right here. Go underneath bookings, and it's a pretty simple dashboard, but it could be very useful if you need that. So now one of the last things I'm going to show you is how to set up the coupon codes. And all you really need to do is just go underneath your appointments right here. And first you want to make sure you have it enabled. So allow coupons right here, because if you don't click that button and hit save, it's not going to show up on the final checkout page. So now you can just head over into coupons over here, just create a new coupon, just type in something like 10 off. You can leave a description, a percentage. So let's just say an even 50%, 10 off. So let's do 10% off. You can have an expiration date if you want. You can have it for specific services. There's the min date, the max date, how many usage. So I like that. They give you some flexibility, but let's just keep it very simple and do a 10 off as the code. So now let's log into a whole new system here. And let me just book here and show you where that's going to be. So if I just randomly choose this, choose a date. So as you can see, it's going to appear right below where the user is going to put in this information. And if you just type in 10 off, hit apply, it's going to show right down here. So it's 10% off of 50 is $5, so $45 now. So now I'm going to show you on the back end how the calendar is going to look as if you're the admin logged into the website. And so they give you a couple different things over here. So we have calendar, bookings, and payments. So once you click on calendar, it's going to show you, just like it says, it's going to show you a calendar of what events are coming up. So it's kind of like a visual way. So you can do it by a month overview. You can do weekly, daily, timetable. So they give you some flexibility here. You can also filter out by the services. You can filter out by employees, locations, and then whether it's confirmed or pending. So now when you go to the bookings and you click one of these, there's going to be more information in here. So you can see the total price. You can see the coupon right here. And then you can see what services that they chose. And then for some reason you need to make an edit back here, you can always do this. And then that will show up in their like account dashboard on the back end. And then over here on the far right, you can see it's confirmed because in the settings, we have it automatically confirmed. And if you want to start to add the payments manually, you can always go ahead and do that. So at the end of the day or the shift, you can go ahead and manually put it in the website so you have it in there. So you can just say, they paid US dollars, manual, and then you can do something like cash, and then just hit create. So now when you go underneath payments, you're going to see right here that was completed. Payment method was like cash. So if you have automatic, like PayPal and all of that, you don't have to do the manual, of course. So it depending on how you have everything set up, it will be more automated, rather than having to come in here and manually do everything. And the very last section I'm going to show you is the notifications. So I don't have anything set up on this demo website, but this is going to give you the ability to actually send out notifications during one of these trigger events. So right where my mouse is, you can see you can send out a notification when the booking's placed, canceled, completed, before and or after an appointment. So you just want to give it like a title up here. The only one I could choose right now is email. And then you could trigger the details. So one day after an appointment, like let's say you want to hit them up with a marketing or an opportunity where, hey, leave a review for our service or whatever. You could do that here. The time it will send. The one catch though is you will need to upgrade to the premium to be able to send to the customer. Or, they can always send these out to like an employee. Like you can say, hey, this customer went through, whatever it may be. You could see right here, there's a lot of use cases that you can do for notifications. And then here's subject, headers, just like the other emails, you're going to have these little like macros that you can copy and paste in here. You can say, hey, this customer has this much left to pay. Here's a booking date. I mean, they give you a lot of information right here that you can do. And that's it for this tutorial on how you can create an appointment website using Elementor and the MotoPress appointment booking plugin. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and hit that bell to receive notifications when I release new tutorials like this. Again, this is Mark from Wicky Design.